Some stories don't creep in. They come crashing down with the force of a snowplow, barreling straight through the line you swore you'd never let anyone cross. That's what happened out here. The morning the sheriff's truck rolled in, the last stake still spinning on the ground, and the entire HOA standing on my property like they owned it. Well, that was the day their story started to unravel. They thought this ranch was theirs for the taking, a patch of land they could use abuse and dump on just because no one had ever stopped them before. All it took was a winter's worth of stolen snow, a broken fence line, and a wall made of every last shovelful of their mess piled high right where their road used to be to blow their lives wide open. You want to know what real justice looks like in these parts? It's got diesel in its veins and proof in its pocket. Because what happened next? That's the kind of thing that makes a whole neighborhood question. Everything they thought they knew about power rules and what happens when you push the wrong guy too far. That day began with a metallic scrape, ugly and too close, ripping me awake in the dark like a warning. I swung my feet onto the cold floor, cussing under my breath, figuring maybe a tractor had gone off the rails. But that sound, it kept coming steady, chewing through ice. When I yanked back the curtain, the sight just about knocked the sleep out of me. 4 orange plow trucks lined up in my field, each one dumping a mountain of snow dead center on my pasture. Not near the road, not in some right-of-way. My land. The new pine row I'd planted, gone buried under slush and road salt gravel, fast food wrappers. I just stared. For a minute, it didn't even make sense. But then it hit me, this wasn't some mistake. This was calculated. I threw on my boots and stormed outside. The cold slapped me in the face, but the anger burning under my skin was hotter. I marched up to the lead truck. The driver just shrugged and said, "HOA says it's overflow. Snow's got to go somewhere." I shot back, "This is my ranch, not a landfill. You're trespassing, all of you." He looked at me like I was some stubborn old fool. "Talk to the board. We're just following orders." And with that, he dumped another load, grinning as he drove off. One by one, the rest followed until the only thing left was a pile of stolen winter stretching the length of my fence. I took photos. Always start with evidence. Walked back to the subdivision, their big fancy sign boasting Stone Canyon Meadows, a community of shared responsibility. Yeah. Shared when it's convenient. People watched me from behind curtains, none of them brave enough to step outside. Why my land? Why now? There were other spots, closer, emptier, easier. But they picked my ranch, a place they thought no one would defend. Next morning, the real slap in the face came, a bright orange notice on my doorstep. Violation, $600 fine, obstructing snow removal. My name spelled wrong, but my address right. I laughed and got mad. They dumped their trash on me, ruined my trees, and now they're fining me for it. I wasn't having it. Drove straight to their so-called office, just a beige shack in the middle of their perfect little world. Bethany Crowell greeted me all smiles and pearls. "We need to discuss your non-compliance," she said. I waved the violation in her face. "You dumped your snow on my ranch and you're fining me." She didn't blink. "It's community snow. You refused overflow usage." "There's no easement on my deed," I told her. She got sharper. "Prescriptive rights. We've used that stretch for decades." I could feel the anger cool, hard, sharp. "That doesn't make it yours, Bethany." She wasn't listening. History comes with rights. That's when I knew she was bluffing, and she expected me to fall for it. Back at my kitchen table, I started a fresh notebook. HOA dumped snow. No permission. Find out why. Because I don't believe in letting things slide. County records told me everything I needed: no easement, no permission, no right-of-way. They'd been trespassing for years. Chuck Wilkins, the toughest surveyor in the county, came out and staked the line. "Their road isn't on their land, Jake. 35 feet onto yours. And if anyone ever gave permission even once, it killed any legal claim. The law was on my side." Next thing, Bethany herself showed up, 2 board members in tow. "These survey stakes are causing confusion," she said. "Good," I told her. "Maybe folks will finally ask why your road's on my land." She tried to rattle me, but the more she pushed, the steadier I stood. The HOA called a community meeting, tried to turn the neighborhood against me. But when I held up Chuck's survey map and dared them to produce their own evidence, the silence told me everything. Bethany finally admitted in front of everyone they'd file for adverse possession. That's not a claim. That's an admission. Then she made her big mistake. Right in front of the sheriff and half the neighborhood, Bethany yanked my survey stake out of the ground. Sheriff Morales didn't hesitate. He cuffed her on the spot for trespassing and destruction of property. The crowd cheered. Marcus, the developer, tried to take control, but the neighbors had had enough demanding answers about fees, about fraud, about everything the HOA had hidden. Within hours, the board was suspended, a mediator brought in, and the wall I'd built 10 feet of compressed snow stood as a new boundary. Patricia, the mediator, sat across my kitchen table with 3 board members who looked like they hadn't slept in a week. "There is no easement," she said. "We want to negotiate." I named my terms compensation for years of trespass, monthly access fee, and every bit of future maintenance on them. If they broke the rules, access revoked. They signed. I donated the money to the local Veterans Fund. Never was about cash, just boundaries and dignity. That afternoon, I carved a gap for emergency vehicles. The wall stood not as punishment, but as proof that you can't steal what isn't yours. Spring came. The wall melted. The grass grew tall and green. Bethany's case made the news. Turns out cameras catch everything. Marcus's lawyers called for a deal. Other neighborhoods started calling, asking for advice. The lesson out here land remembers. Boundaries mean survival. You build power on lies, the truth will tear it down. Justice isn't loud, it just shows up undeniable as a line in the snow. If you've ever faced down an HOA, a bully, or anyone who tried to claim what was yours, let your story out in the comments. This isn't just about land. It's about holding the line for what's right. Dignity, truth, boundaries, they still matter. And as long as folks like us keep fighting, they always will. If you want to ride along for the next fight, hit subscribe. I'll be here standing my ground.